back here in the locker room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app. Scooter, it's Labor Day weekend, and we've reached the end of summer. I'm bummed out.
Are you?
Yeah.
You can't lay around and lounge. You gotta have to go get a job. You know.
I have a job.
You do?
Pumping you up. All right, listen. All summer long, we did a segment called "The Legends of Lifeguard Racing." We've had some great racers throughout the weeks. Of course, the Legends of Lifeguard Racing is brought to you by Surface Supplies. And what's happening at Surface Supplies? All things surfing. That's what's happening. Starting out with hundreds of new and used surfboards right by the front door since 1962. With a full line of skimboards, skateboards, bodyboards, and all the necessary gear to complete a happy day of surfing. At Surface Supplies, 3101 Asbury Avenue in Ocean City, keeping you stoked since 1962. And by Blitz's Market in Ocean City, voted Best Deli 6 years in a row, introducing online ordering. Visit them at blitzesmarkets.com and place your order today. 2 locations in Ocean City at 21st Street and 34th Street on Asbury Avenue. Cut out the carbs with their famous dill pickle hoagie. It's really a big deal. Now let's go to the Barb's Harley-Davidson Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room the former chief of the South City Beach Patrol. He's an historian of the South Jersey Lifeguard Championships, Tom McCann. What's up, Tom?
Hey, good morning, Billy. Thanks for having me on.
You know, Tom, we've been doing this segment because all the racing has been canceled, all the races throughout the summer, and we've had some great racers on, some great competitors, some great champions. Ron Kirk, we had Ashton Funk on, we had Andrew Funk on, John Malloy, just to name a few, Craig Whitehead, some great racers.
Wow, they're hard acts to follow for me. That's great stuff.
Yeah, John.
Really good.
Scotty McKay is joining me. He's my co-host, and he spent a long time on the Ocean City Beach Patrol. Of course, you know Scotty from working the races together.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
How did he set the flags? Did he set them evenly for everybody?
Except for the Sea Owl flag. It went out a little further.
Well, you know, we don't want to give you guys any advantage. We got to just keep it out there a little. That's a tough job when you think about it. It really is.
It's almost impossible. Really, it is. It's a very difficult job. I used to do that also when we were running the Wildwood Beach Patrol. We had to set the flags for the Dutch Hoffmans every year, and it's a real delicate situation, as you know. You get a bad lane, it's tough stuff.
Well, I think people think that the beach is straight, and that the flags will just go in a line straight out there. You try to put them. I don't know how many times we've had guys. We'd always bring a couple of rookies out with or something like that to help out, drag the flags. Right. They throw the weight over. They forgot to put the clip onto the flag. So there must outside of Ocean City, there's probably 300 weights down at the bottom of the ocean there.
Oh my God, yeah, right in the area.
Tommy, wanted to get you on the program to finish us off with this segment. What are some of your fondest memories? Some of the best races. Give us some highlights that you think that we might have missed or that you want the people to know.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for getting me on. I appreciate this. I think it's great stuff. I think South Jersey lifeguarding is the best in the United States of America. As a group, South Jersey Chiefs Association, they're a really tight group, and they really well run beaches well. As far as Ocean City is concerned, talk about South Jersey lifeguarding, Ocean City has won that event, that title, 32 times over the years, which is a remarkable feat, to say the least, because of what we were just talking about, the flags the way they are and the breaks you get for a beach patrol to do that well for that long is a remarkable success. Because Ventnor is 14 team titles behind Ocean City. So, and Ventnor's a phenomenal beach patrol with great rowers. And but they're far behind Ocean City in that regard. But yet Ventnor is the top Margate winner as far as the team titles.
Tom, speaking of Margate and Longport, over the last several years. Margate with Chuck Gowdy and Chris Graves, they've been a dynamic duo and very dominant. Of course, Longport with Mike McGrath and Sean Duffy. Of course, now Joey Tepper and John Tepper before him. So it has shifted a little bit.
Yeah, the history, well, especially with Gowdy and Graves, they won 3 of the last 4 South Jerseys, just not in a row. Funk and Mike Hollins snuck in there in 2017 and knocked them off, or they would have had 4 in a row, I believe. But the Graves story is really cool because Chris Graves' father was a South Jersey champion and Margate champion, Buddy Graves, and Buddy's father and Chris's grandfather started the Margate Memorials back in 1946. So they go way back historically with the Margates. And then to win that title, I'm sure it made old man Graves very, very proud of his son and grandson. And now Chris Graves is just ripping it up. I mean, he's doing a great job. And anybody gets in the boat with Gowdy wins. Chuck Gowdy's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
You just step in the boat and you got a title. And that's like David Funk. Those 2 guys are incredible. They teach the partners how to row their style. And they're winners, let's face it. They've done phenomenal things for their beach patrols. And winning's what they're doing very, very well.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, what do you think has been the major changes in the beach patrols, the way they're run, from 20 to 30 years ago versus now? What do you think is the big change that's going on today?
That is a great question, because a lot of times when we're sitting there, we're having a cup of coffee at the local establishments, we talk about that kind of stuff. And like, for example, a great Ventnor crew from back in the day was Bill Money and Keating. And you got to wonder how great they would have been if they continued to stay on the beach. Most of the guys stayed on the beach maybe 8 to 12 years, and then they were going off to after college or after law school, after medical school, and pursue their careers. And now the beach patrols are tied in closely with the fire departments because they work hand in hand so much, and there's such a similarity with their work that a lot of the beach patrols can maintain their guards for a longer period of time. And part of the fireman's job is to stay in shape, so it works and complements the fire department very well. And you can look up and down the beaches in South Jersey and see great lifeguards are also firemen. So it gives them a career in lifeguarding longer than it did back in the day of the 50s and the 60s and the 70s.
We're
so
talking
that dynamic changed a lot.
We're talking with Tom McCann, former Seattle City chief and been around a long time, historian of the South Jersey Lifeguard Championships. Tom, let me ask you a question that only you could probably answer. In all your years of watching and participating and running the South Jersey Lifeguard Champions, who is one of the more dominant crews that you've ever witnessed?
Well, the current crews are really unbelievable. I think the most dominant crew that I've ever seen row and win the South Jerseys was when Ashton Funk and Chuck Gowdy won the Jerseys that one year. I believe it was in Ventnor. I've never seen such a spread from first to second place in my life. It was an incredible performance of athleticism and conditioning, but they're both very, very savvy in the boat. I mean, a lot of good rowers are not necessarily savvy, but these guys are surfers and things of that nature. And they were coming in, I believe it was a strong west wind, and they just walked away from the crews behind them. And there were great crews behind them. That was one of the greatest. One of my favorite, Billy, is in Avalon in, I believe it was 1975. 1975, Funk and Miller were on, this is Dennis Funk, Ashton's father, who I rowed against, and he knows my back well. I never saw his back because he was always out in the lead. But the truth of the matter is that George Miller and Dennis Funk were the crew of the day back then. And they were in the South Jerseys in 75, but the week before was the Margates, and they lost. And there was like an 8-race winning streak that they got knocked out. And I think they had a bad race because they came back in the race in Avalon. But what was amazing about it, as they come in, I always look at the races like 3 tiers. You have your lead group, then you have your mid group, and then you have your back group. So I always would tell the guys in Wild Beach 4C how you got to be in that frontier to be competitive with a wave or anything that comes your way, because you can pass it and win. Well, that's exactly what happened. Funk and Miller were outside the surf with about a fourth or fifth place strong finish, and they caught a wave. And it wasn't really a wave. It never broke. It was just a little ripple, but they knew how to ride it so well, and they just continued to pass the first four boats in front of them. And Tommy Jackson and Marty Jackson thought they had the race in hand, because they were winning. They were winning the South Jerseys. And at the last stroke, Funk and Miller passed them, and they got first for the third year in a row in the South Jerseys. And Tommy Jackson, who won the singles previously in the South Jerseys, and Marty Jackson, the year before, won the South Jerseys in '76, got passed at the last second, and it changed the whole dynamic of the race, and Funk and Miller got the third win. To me, that was the most exciting and sensational finish in a dramatic fashion, because they were a good crew, and they just knew how to pull it out.
Yeah, I was still friendly with the Jackson brothers. They were great guys. They were great rowers. I'll tell you what, one of the greatest things that I saw was when the kid Pete Oppenheimer from Cape May in the singles.
Right.
You know, he turned a flag, he caught a wave, and he never pulled a stroke the rest of the way in, and destroyed everybody in that race, which was, listen, you always think that could possibly happen, but you never really know it's going to happen, and he catches a wave and just bow-tooed the boat all the way to the beach. Yeah, it was crazy.
I was awestruck. It was like, and he just kept going, passing. I think he was holding on to the oarlocks, if I remember correctly.
That's all he was doing. Just hold on for dear life, I think. Yeah, because it doesn't take much for that boat to broach.
I don't know if
Tommy,
good.
Tommy, there's been a lot of great competitors. We had last week. We had Sid Cassidy on, and he's a character.
He's a character.
Oh.
Yeah. I tell you, if you sat and stand with him all day, I'm sure you were laughing all the time. He is a piece of work, man. That guy, he's great.
No doubt. And, he brought a little energy.
And the Pete Oppenheimer story from Cape May, it really goes on after that. I don't know if you know this, but he started his business.
Correct.
And ended up
Wave one.
Oh, there you go. You know the story. That's a great story. It's just unbelievable.
What happened?
He opened up a sports store in Conshohocken, I think it was, and he was actually supplying a lot of the beach patrols with their jackets and stuff like that, and he called it Wave One, which was just, it's a great name, and it's still open. Yeah, it's still open.
Yeah,
so,
I think he ended up becoming a multimillionaire. He really did. He just did fantastic.
Yeah. Well, listen, Tom, we got about a minute left. Anything we left out? Anything you want us to know? Want our listeners to know about the Lifeguard Championships? We certainly hope that it returns next year and we get all the racing in. But
it will.
Your final thought.
I'd like to say this, that after it's all said and done, and I keep on looking at this closely, I'm waiting for a crew, which are the many crews that could do this. But the Wagner brothers in the Margates from 61 to 64 won 4 straight doubles. So they got to be considered one of the best of all time. 4 straight is the standard, I guess, since they set the standard back then. And then Ash and Funk got 4 in the singles straight. And that's even more remarkable, because the single is very difficult to win once, let alone 4 times straight. So I'd like to say that, just about the double. And, of course, the Dick Thieler, Tom Swift thing with the swim, they both had 6 wins in the South Jerseys. Dick Thieler from Ocean City and Tommy Swift from Margate. And then, of course, John Kenny had 5 wins from Atlantic City. So they're the top 3 of all time.
Well, Tommy, listen, man, thank you so much for shedding some light, talking a little bit about this, and we really appreciate it.
I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you very much. Nice talking to you guys.
Nice talking to you. And, of course, Scotty McKay, we hope that everything returns normal next year. We get all the races in.
Yeah, they were fun to do, the live remotes from there. They really were. So it's it's one of those things we've got to get back to.
Because you can check out the whole rebroadcast. It's up on my website, my YouTube channel, The Locker Room, BillySchweim.com. You can check it out. We have it posted. The Legends of Lifeguard Racing is brought to you by Surface Supplies. And what's happening at Surface Supplies? all things surfing. That's what's happening, starting out with hundreds of new and used surfboards right by the front door since 1962, with a full line of skimboards, skateboards, bodyboards, and all the necessary gear to complete a happy day of surfing. At Surfer Supplies, 3101 Asbury Avenue in Ocean City, New Jersey, keeping you stoked since 1962. And by Blitz's Market in Ocean City, voted Best Deli 6 years in a row, introducing online ordering. Visit them at blitzesmarkets.com and place your order today. 2 locations in Ocean City at 21st Street and 34th Street on Asbury Avenue. Cut out the carbs with their famous dill pickle hoagie. It's really a big deal. And I want to thank Dave and Joe Newman from Blitz's and Andrew Funk and Greg Beck of Surface Supplies for sponsoring the segment. Second hour of the locker room is brought to you by the Great Bay Country Club, where it's not just golf, it's fun. For more information, go to greatbay.com. Call them at 609-927-5071. Great Bay Country Club in Summers Point, New Jersey. See why it's a great day at Great Bay. The Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine is run by ex-Philadelphia tight end Ken Dunnick. But were you aware of their private business network they call the Legacy Club? Every month they hold upscale events at private locations in Philadelphia and South Jersey to attract over 200 top business people. If you have an interest in attending one of these events and see it's a fit for your business, send an email to ken@jerseymanmagazine.com or call them at 856-912-4007 for more information. All right, when we return, we'll wrap it up. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app.